Did you realize that throughout your spiritual journey, God has entrusted you with unique and significant revelations? That they were designed exclusively for you. They are divine insights, secrets created to guide and protect you in ways you may not completely grasp yet. But here's the warning. These sacred facts are recklessly shared with the wrong people, the fundamental foundation of what God has intended. If this resonates with you, you may feel unsettled before we dig deeper. Please take a time to comment 777 as a confession of faith to those who have supported this channel through wonderful thanks. We convey our heartfelt gratitude. Your gift is a true blessing, enabling us continue to bring God's light and encouragement to those who need it the most. Chosen one, allow me. I'd want to ask you a question. Have you ever felt like there were unseen forces were working against you, possibly opportunities you believed were secure, unexpectedly departed, or trusted relationships became sources of unexpected? These are not random happenings. There is a greater spiritual truth at play, a fact that is intimately related to what you choose to expose and what you wisely guard. What I am about to share with you is not for the faint of heart. It is a strong spiritual key, a gift from God. Shields your objective and secures your fate, which is not something common, is not even intended for everyone to grasp. However, if you've ever thought like certain fights in your life appeared, strangely personal focused, even if you're not imagining things, the challenges you faces are often linked to the divine favor over your life, which many envy and few can understand the secret. Lies in knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. The risks are enormous. Because this insight not only shapes your life, it safeguards the fundamental essence of who God designed you to be. Me. Because what you'll learn here could forever impact the way you approach your quest. The secret is not simply in you do or say, but in what you retain within the holy confidences of God, has been committed to your heart. These are not mere pieces of information. Divine treasures are designed to guide and protect you. But what if what you're sharing is the one thing that's supposed to remain concealed? What if your quiet may be your best shield? As we enter this revelation together, prepare yourself to see your path in fresh light. This message is not for the unprepared, but for those who are ready to take hold their calling with wisdom and intention. The secret is profound. Once you understand it, there is no turning back. Let's discover this reality together. It might be the key to your next victory and the security of everything God has placed within you. God's chosen. Never expose this secret. It is your greatest safety. Music. When the selected ones disclose more than they should or reveal what is sacred to them, an unseen change frequently occurs. Have you ever had the crushing disappointment of expressing a cherished idea or dream just to watch it unravel? Shortly after, this is not just a coincidence. Spiritual secrets possess divine power that, when exposed prematurely, can be misunderstood, misread, or even weaponized against you. Quiet, rather from being a sign of weakness, is a profound wisdom. When God communicates anything to you, He entrusts you with a bit of His divine design. It is intricately designed, but often incomprehensible to others. What happens when you place a rare, priceless jewel in the hands of someone who does not appreciate its value? Jewel, it risks being ignored, tarnished, or even stolen. Consider the biblical Genesis 37 tells the account of Joseph, who shared his hopes of glory with him. Instead of embracing his vision, his brothers responded with jealousy and anger, conspiring against him, selling him into slavery. However, God eventually used this for good. Joseph's early disclosure unleashed a tempest that he was unprepared to face. Could his journey have been less treacherous had he maintained those dreams in his heart a bit longer? How frequently do we like Joseph? Sharing spiritual secrets early can lead to unneeded trials. Enormous power, but only when maintained in their appropriate position, safe within your heart, and nurtured via your close relationship with God. Have you ever revealed a personal aim or spiritual insight only to be met with doubt and envy, or even scorn? Such reactions do more than hurt. They release energy that can impede your progress and hamper God's timing in your life. Around you is equipped to understand or honor what God has entrusted to you. Because these divine revelations are customized to your individual calling, as a divine script written particularly for you to share these spiritual treasures with. Choosing the wrong audience is like opening the door to evil elements that might penetrate your aspirations and plans. Are like seeds carefully planted by God in the lush soil of the heart, like a seed, requires quiet, undisturbed conditions to blossom and flourish. So do your spiritual secrets. Consider exposing a delicate seed to the components. It risks being destroyed before it has taken root. Potential can be realized. Are there dreams you've shared that may have required the protective silence of Instead, how may God be calling you to guard these treasures more? We are careful in Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, protect your heart, for everything you do flows from it. The heart is a hallowed sanctuary where God places his promises and visions. Protecting those treasures does not mean you distrust people. It means you honor. After all, even Jesus warned his disciples not to cast their pearls before swine. Matthew 7:6. Shouldn't we do the same? Discernment with our own spiritual pearls, when you reveal too much of what is sacred to you. It is like leaving a delicate seed exposed to severe winds and storms before it has a chance. Grow the beauty of your path, and the significance of your purpose may be unnoticed to those around you, some due to lack of understanding, and others, perhaps with intentional malice, may unknowingly or purposefully damage what you're striving to develop. God requires us to be cautious about what we expose. Ensure that his divine design for our life can unfold without excessive disturbance. As one of God's chosen ones, you carry a great spiritual weight that not everyone can understand or handle. God has placed in your life something deep and powerful, yet sharing too much can cause. Consider the potential for opposition and useless spiritual wars. Spiritual secrets are your armor meant by God to protect you when you unveil. Using too much of this armor creates gaps that invite attacks, weakening the Apostle Paul wrote in Ephesians 6:11, to put on the whole armor of God so that you can stand against the devil's schemes. This armor is not simply for combat. It is also a shield for the sacred truths and callings that God has entrusted to you. Would we willingly drop that shield by disclosing too much to others who may not value or respect it? Relevance. Your mission is different from anybody else's, and the secrets God has entrusted to you are part of the unique method he nourishes your path. Have you ever had a situation when discussing a profoundly personal aim or vision, seem to imagine telling a friend about a business concept, only to find inexplicable resistance or roadblocks emerge out of nowhere. Or perhaps you've discussed a cherished ambition with a family member. Did you experience a sudden rush of incredulity or negativity that sapped your motivation? Experiences are not random. They reflect a spiritual reality that is sacred, possesses a spiritual force, which when exposed to untrained or uncaring hearts, might undermine its potential to develop. In Matthew 7:6, Jesus admonished his followers, "Do not offer what is holy to the wolves, or toss your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn to rend you in pieces." These lines encourage us to discern the audience for our revelations. What God has given you is holy, a pearl of great sharing value with those who are unable to recognize its worth. Is not only. Have you ever paused to ponder anything both risky and destructive to your mission? Why do some visions seem to blossom only when fostered in silence? God's wisdom frequently comes via his still small voice, guiding us to defend what is sacred. What if you started treating your dreams and plans like treasures that require safekeeping? By protecting these holy truths, you allow God to act. God, protect you from unwanted interruption and strengthen your spiritual path in the background. In his infinite wisdom, he chooses to convey his truths to us in profoundly personal ways. These revelations frequently occur in periods of stillness, during passionate prayer, or in the peaceful knowledge that he is near. These divine communications are not just meant to advise and support you, but they have also entrusted you with confidentiality when such sacred. When insights are shared with someone who is not connected with your spiritual journey, you run the risk of losing the connection. Doubting the veracity of the message grows, which is why not every spiritual insight is designed to be stated aloud. Deciding when to give and when to remain silent needs close, prayerful relationship with God. Reflect on how God communicated with them. In 1 Kings 19:11-12, the prophet Elijah anticipated to hear God's voice. Instead of a tremendous wind, earthquake, or fire, God communicated in a peaceful manner. Whisper. This demonstrates how God frequently works in subtle ways, entrusting his servants with subtle but powerful messages. Imagine if Elijah had misunderstood or prematurely shared this important moment with someone who couldn't comprehend it. Would it have lessened the power of the revelation before? When sharing a divine insight, consider if the recipient will understand or honor it. What I am about to share, if your heart hesitates, consider keeping it to yourself. Not everyone possesses the spiritual maturity to understand or appreciate the profundity of what God has disclosed to you. Silence in this situation is more than a shield. It is an act. Reverence, deciding to protect God's secrets, is a method of appreciating their heavenly origin and safeguarding their mission, concealing a spiritual secret. Not an act of fear, but one of genuine faith. It expresses your belief in God's timing and plan are more important than your need for affirmation from others. Consider creating a sturdy fortress around the assets God has put in your soul, just as Nehemiah erected the Jerusalem walls to safeguard what was precious. Nehemiah 2:17-18. You are called to protect the divine purpose embedded in your heart. Have you ever considered that protecting a spiritual secret may be an act of obedience to God? When we choose silence, we establish a sacred space in which his designs can blossom without hindrance. What measures can you take today to better identify what should remain between you and God while honoring his revelations? In faith, you align yourself with his wisdom, allowing his purpose to develop. Protecting your spiritual secrets at the right time is a powerful method to nurture your well-being and honor. By protecting these revelations, you display self-respect and acknowledge God's trust in you. God has prepared a particular journey for you, and this act of preservation is a manifestation of obedience to God, who invites you to keep focused on your divine purpose, free of needless distractions or interruption. The secret God has given you is more than a gift. It is your shield, your greatest defense. By protecting it and treating it with regard, you unlock the. Consider how God can lead you to unimaginable blessings and chances. We often seek outward for protection, and we rely on counsel from others. Human techniques may rely on our own physical or mental strength, but for God's chosen ones, the most powerful form of protection is within the secret God has entrusted to you, is like a treasured key known only to you and him. Reflection of your spiritual identity and the purpose he has placed on your heart. Why would you risk exposing this treasure to the world, just as Jesus retreated to lonely areas to pray, guard his contact with the Father? Luke 5:1-16. So we must cultivate silence and prudence to protect the sacred things of God. Quiet in this context is not about hiding or shrinking in fear, but about recognizing the worth of what you hold and defending it from forces that may aim to reduce or derail it. Have you ever observed how quiet can disarm negativity, strengthen resolve? It is a formidable weapon that protects what is valuable without the necessity for confrontation. Proverbs 21:23 reminds us that whoever keeps his mouth and tongue keeps oneself out of danger, and this wisdom understands the necessity of choosing our words carefully, especially when it comes to divine mysteries. God has placed within us your spiritual secret, which is more than a piece of information, but a divine strategy. Designed individually for your journey, it carries the weight of God's purpose for your life, making it a goal for misunderstanding, envy, or even spiritual hostility by keeping it guarded. Connect yourself with God's protection and his plan. What steps can you take today to honor the trust God has put in you? Could silence in this season is the key to unlocking your next breakthrough. Trust in the sacredness of the secret and God's promise to guide you to realms beyond your imagination. Have you ever observed how certain people appear too curious about your life, asking probing questions or casting judgment, while others may appear well-meaning? Their motives are not always pure, and silence becomes more than merely a habit. It becomes a divine strategy, a shield of wisdom. The Bible defends you against toxic energies and unfair criticisms. In Proverbs 17-28, timeless wisdom reminds us of the power of silence. Even fools are considered intelligent if they remain silent and discerning, if they retain their. For the selected ones, silence is not merely about self-preservation, is a key part of spiritual discernment and protection. Visualize your heart as God constructed the sacred safe to hold the important secrets he has entrusted to you. Like any safe, it can only be unlocked with the correct combination, the divine. Dreams contain treasures, including revelations and spiritual truths, designed to be protected and safeguarded. But have you considered who has access to this sacred space, connected with God's plan for your life? If not, it may be time to reconsider your boundaries and the extent to which you disclose your inner world. Not all information is designed to be communicated, and discretion is crucial. Consider how Jesus chose to reveal his teachings as he spoke openly in parables to the crowds about the deeper principles were intended for his disciples, whom he believed would understand and carry his. In Matthew 13:11, Jesus explained his understanding of the secrets. The kingdom of heaven has been granted to you, but not to them, demonstrating that even divine wisdom requires rigorous consideration of the audience's silence, permits God to work in the unseen. When we speak too freely, we frequently attract needless issues. Resistance in our lives. Have you ever disclosed something incredibly intimate only to regret it later because of the reaction you received? Perhaps you felt judged, misunderstood, or even deceived. These events remind us that silence is keeping sacred topics between you and God. You create a safe setting for his intentions to unfold. Ask yourself who the people are. Allow those dear to my heart to boost me and align with God's purpose for my life. Or do they offer doubt and distraction? Not everyone needs to know your every move or hearing every revelation God has placed in you. Trusting in the importance of discretion is not to shut others out. Rather, it is to recognize the special bond you have with God is ensuring that his treasures are kept for the correct time. And when used effectively, audience silence may be one of your most potent allies. One of the most fundamental spiritual problems that God's chosen ones encounter is learning to distinguish what should remain secret and what can be discussed before you talk. Take a time to meditate on what I am about to say. Worship God, or is it driven by my own ego if it honors God and helps him? Purpose, then speak it boldly. However, if it arises from pride or reveals, it may be better to keep the vulnerability between you and God. The Bible frequently reminds us of the power and effect of our words. Proverbs 18:21 states that the tongue holds the power of life and death. A serious reminder that the words we unleash into the world can determine the spiritual conflicts we confront. Revealing too much may accidentally attract envy or hostility into your life. These external causes might provide unneeded distractions that undermine your faith and hinder your spiritual path. Have you ever noticed how quickly a moment of joy or inspiration may alter when shared with the wrong person? This is no coincidence. Not everyone around you has your best interests in mind, and not everyone is genuinely. Consider yourself grown enough to bear the weight of your calling as a chosen one. Protect your spiritual secrets as treasures of immense value would protect the most valuable jewel, understanding that the less you reveal, the less space there is for spiritual. Because silence in many circumstances is not just a show of wisdom, but becomes in Psalm 14:13, David requested to set up an invisible barrier to protect him from harm. Lord, guard my mouth and keep watch over the door of my lips. This prayer represents the significance of heavenly judgment and temperance in speech, particularly for those trusted with holy objectives. The individuals surrounding you play a key part in your path. Certain persons encourage and inspire you, supporting your faith growth and purpose. while others may plant seeds of doubt and fear. Have you taken the time to assess those inside your closest circle? Are they connected with your spiritual vision, or do they gently pull you away from God's plan? Surround yourself with individuals who share your beliefs and appreciate the weight of calling enhances your ability to preserve what is precious. Trust is sacred coin, and not everyone is equipped to manage the realities of your assignment. Only people who value and respect your purpose may be trusted to hear it. Fragments of your calling recall the example of Mary, Jesus' mother, who Luke treasured all these things and pondered them in her heart. 2:19. She recognized the significance of keeping treasured revelations close, maintaining them in silence till the time was perfect. Can you image the peace you would acquire focus by defending your own spiritual treasures in this manner? Align yourself with folks who inspire and support your walk with God. By doing so, you create a fortress of faith around the divine secrets entrusted to you, assuring that the mission remains undisturbed, and God's intentions can unfold without one of the most effective and practical ways to safeguard your spiritual secret is to give it to God through prayer. There is no safer sanctuary for your dreams, worries, and plans than the presence of the Almighty. When you bring these matters to Him, you not only protect them, but also open yourself to divine guidance on when and with whom to share your prayers. Increases your insight, and the Holy Spirit, as your constant counselor, will faithfully lead you in recognizing the occasions to talk and when to remain silent. Consider this. You are working on an important project or have recently gotten a great revelation from God. The thrill of this revelation fills your heart, and the want to share it with others feels almost overpowering. Yet wisdom asks you to pause and examine the individuals around you capable of understanding and supporting what God has shown you frequently. Sharing your vision early can expose it to criticism or doubt, which may divert your concentration. Jesus himself preached the value of discretion in Matthew 66, saying, "But when you pray by going into your room, closing the door, and praying to your Father who is your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you for this," emphasizes the power of working and praying in private, trusting God to reveal the fruits of your labor in His. Timing silence in these moments is not a sign of fear, but of strategy. Nehemiah went out to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, and he kept his ideas hidden until the perfect moment in Nehemiah 2:12. He declared that I had not notified anyone about my God, had put it in my heart to accomplish for Jerusalem while preserving confidentiality. Nehemiah avoided unnecessary opposition and carried out God's purpose. Similarly, when you keep your spiritual secrets near, you shield them. Have you ever received criticism or misgivings from individuals who do not share your beliefs or vision? Skepticism that undermined your commitment? See the tranquility and focus you could sustain by letting your plans to blossom quietly under God's protection. Keeping them buried until they're ready to be unveiled aligns you with God's wisdom and timing. This is not about hiding from fear, but about respecting the sacred process of preparation. God has promised that what is done in secret will be rewarded. Openly trusting in this principle helps you to focus on the work that God has given. Can you think of any instances in your life when silence can be beneficial? Become the key to development by giving your plans to God in prayer and believing. With this timing, you not only secure your spiritual secret, but also position yourself to accept the rewards that only He can grant. Chosen one recognition that the secret God has placed within you is not only your greatest shield, but also a profound indication of your adherence to His divine purpose. This secret is more than protection against the enemy, is a precious testament to your religion, and by keeping it buried, you exhibit trust in God's perfection. Timing, believing He will unveil His work in your life when the moment is divinely appointed. In the calm of your confidence, God accomplishes miracles, converting the unseen into the visible, making His majesty apparent via the silence that you preserve. Divine secret is no ordinary gift. It is more than just knowledge or information. It is at the heart of your mission and purpose. It contains the blueprint for what you were made to accomplish in this world. Preferring to keep this hidden is an act of enormous responsibility, not only for your own security, but for the fulfillment of the mission God has entrusted to you. Ecclesiastes 3:1 teaches us that there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the skies. Something maturely can damage its objective just as much as failing to reveal. Are you discerning the timing God has set for the things He has? The Bible is rich with examples of folks who trusted God. Consider Mary, who guarded what was sacred until the perfect moment. After the angel Gabriel revealed her divine purpose, Jesus' mother pondered it. These things in her heart, keeping them near and trusting God's plan. Luke 2:19. Her quiet was not fear, but wisdom. How would your trip differ if you demonstrated faith that God would unveil His will in His perfect way? Approached your divine secret with the same serene certainty. God does not bestow tremendous duties on those unprepared to safeguard the secret He has. Handed to you is confirmation of your merit in His eyes. Protecting something so valuable needs more than. When you resist, you must have unwavering faith and strong trust in God's plan. The impulse to divulge this secret, you make a significant pledge of trust. In God is bigger than your need to validate or explain. This act of faith offers a sacred space for His purpose to grow, even when you can't. Do you trust God enough to cling on to the unknown, hoping He'll release it at the perfect time? By guarding the secret, you align yourself with His goal, demonstrating that you are a vessel willing to carry out His. As you walk in this obedience, you will not only preserve what is precious, you are also paving the ground for the extraordinary to materialize in ways beyond your imagination. Allow this secret to remain your shield, weapon, and testament to the magnificence of the God you serve. We frequently feel the impulse to share our triumphs or future intentions with individuals we love, seeking their support or understanding. But it is critical to realize that not everyone is ready to embrace or support the divine purpose God has placed in you. Life maintaining your secret becomes an act of faith, a pledge that you trust God's sovereignty and timing, believing that He will disclose what is needed. To know at the proper moment, prayer is the divine channel via which wherein you might receive divine wisdom, seeking clarity on when to speak. When to be silent before sharing, ask the Lord. This is the time. This is the person you've chosen. And sometimes the stillness response is His way of encouraging you to keep your secret a bit longer. Through prayer, you not only receive discernment, but also strengthen your connection with God, allowing you to detect spiritual pitfalls that may lie ahead. Have you ever revealed something truly intimate only to feel the sting? With betrayal or judgment, you may have shared a treasured dream or a holy point in your life, believing it would be safe, only to realize that the person was not prepared to receive it, or, worse, used it against. These events are more than just terrible. They are spiritual lessons meant to teach you the value of prudence. As Jesus instructed in Matthew 10:16, "Be as shrewd as snakes, innocent as doves." This mix of intelligence and purity is crucial for protecting what God has entrusted to you. Consider how often the Bible highlights the power of restraint. According to Proverbs 13:3, people who guard their lips will preserve their. This truth tells us that individuals who speak rashly will come to damage lives. Even well-intentioned statements might have unexpected consequences. By withholding what is sacred, you establish a protecting border around the treasures God has put in your life. How may your trip transform if you learn to pause and pray, and discern the unpleasant experiences of misguided trust are not meant to break you, but to strengthen your spiritual awareness, like Joseph's. His brothers insulted and misinterpreted his dreams. Genesis 37. Betrayal. When you disclose early, yet God's purpose for Joseph was not. It was fulfilled in due time. Could it be that God is asking you to nurture your dreams in silence, trusting Him to disclose them at the appropriate moment? By protecting your secret aligns you with God's wisdom and avoids unnecessary spiritual warfare. Let prayer be your continuous guide, anchoring you in faith and advising you on when to talk and when to remain silent. What steps can you take now to ensure that the precious things in your life are preserved for God's timing? Remember not, everything precious must be shared. Sometimes the greatest acts of faith occur in the calm trust between you and God. Like a rare and priceless jewel, demands particular preservation. The divine secret that God has given to you also requires unique care and attentiveness. Loneliness, often seen as a burden, is truly a holy gift. Disguise it is at these moments of solitude that God speaks to you with unparalleled clarity, enhancing your intimacy with Him and equipping you for the challenges that lie ahead. When you find, if you are feeling alone, realize that this is not a sign of abandonment, but of divine separation. God protects you from forces that could harm. Embrace these quiet seasons as opportunities for your sacred purpose, spiritual growth, and a stronger faith in His plan. Your words have tremendous power. The ability to create or destroy, to invite blessings, or to open doors for spiritual opposition is why it is critical to defend the secret God has given you by speaking about it too soon. Something He's still working on may unwittingly expose your life to impure energies or evil intentions. The safeguarding of your divine purpose starts with your choice of words. Silence is frequently your strongest shield, a protection that protects God's work until it is ready to be. Proverbs 21:23 wisely says that those who guard their mouths and tongues keep themselves from calamity. How much more peace could you sustain by practicing this insight in your life? Envy is one of the most insidious forces that target those with a divine purpose. When you share prematurely, you risk. This is not about drawing envious looks or even purposeful acts of sabotage. Jesus instructed his disciples to walk in divine understanding rather than living in fear, to be crafty as serpents and innocent as doves. Matthew 10:16. The balance of strategy and purity is critical to maintaining the sacred. How might your path look different if you approached with the same insight and shrewdness? Timing is vital in every part of life, and the disclosure of your secret is no exception. By keeping it covered for now, you are allowing God to prepare the ground for its perfect reveal. Imagine a flower blooming out of season. It may be gorgeous for a brief while, but it quickly withered because it was not ready. The same idea applies to the mysteries God has planted in you. Be patient and trust in Him. Ecclesiastes 3:11 reminds us that He has made everything beautiful. Could it be that your waiting is part of the process to guarantee your mission thrives in its entirety? The betrayal, disappointment, and solitude you have faced has been a lesson aimed to teach you the value of maintaining the sacred. These encounters were not random, but part of God's divine preparation for you. Each moment of suffering and hardship was a tool He employed. Help refine your character and prepare you to protect what is most valuable. Reflect on your past with thankfulness, acknowledging how even the most difficult moments were woven. How might your perspective fit into His purpose to enhance your faith and determination? Shift if you considered every challenge as a divine training ground for your destiny. Honoring the teachings of the past, you stride fearlessly into the future completely. Equipped to preserve the gifts God has placed in your life, allow me to talk directly to your heart. The secret you bear is more than a task. Divine assurance that you are part of something far larger than yourself. Something eternal, something that surpasses the confines of this world, is precisely why you must keep it disguised, because the attacker cannot disturb what remains hidden by protecting. By following this profound truth, you not only safeguard yourself, but also preserve God's divine purpose for your life. When the appointed time comes, God will reveal what has been kept concealed, and no force will be able to. No one, in heaven or on earth, will be able to oppose His plan until that day comes. To praying, trusting, and protecting what is most sacred within you. The spiritual journey you are taking is both a pleasure and a struggle that requires discernment to protect the treasures God has entrusted to you. Some secrets are more than mere knowledge. They are spiritual keys that unlock the doors to your mission. However, if shared with the improper individual, can cause setbacks, opposition, and uncertainty. Think about in the Bible. Concealment played an important role in carrying out God's objectives. For example, when God told Moses' mother to hide him in a basket beside the Nile, Exodus 2:3-4, prudence eventually saved his life and created the ground for Israel's deliverance. Similarly, protecting your secret assures that nothing disturbs the divine path. I want to provide you with 3 great spiritual tools today. Tools to help you guard these holy secrets, strengthen your spiritual walk, and protect your divine energy. What I reveal here could be the turning point between stagnation and the fulfillment of your God-given destiny. Thus, I encourage you to listen take these ideas with an open heart and a willing spirit, but most importantly, apply them to your life. Are you ready to take this step and commit to safeguarding what God has placed in you? Remember, This is not simply about safeguarding a secret. It's about securing the core of your goal. Ensure that God's plans for your life blossom in His perfect timing. The first, when selecting a technique for intentional silence, keep in mind that not everything. How often have you felt forced to justify your conduct or share a discovery simply because it felt significant or impressive? Let me remind you that silence, more than the lack of words, it is a powerful type of prayer when you choose. By being mute in the face of probing questions or misgivings, you establish a sacred space for God to work behind the scenes, concealing your goal and preserving your energy. Quiet is not a sign weakness, but a determined act of power that allows you to maintain control over the spiritual treasures given to you. Every speech bears power, and speaking without the divine guidance can be as harmful as opening the gates of a fortress without determining who is on the other side. Strategic quiet is about discretion and knowing when to speak. When holding back in the spiritual sphere, quiet is more than restraint. It is the atmosphere in which God moves. The Bible reveals the strength of silence in events of tremendous spiritual significance. When Jesus stood in front of Pilate, accused and condemned by false witnesses, He chose silence over defense. In Matthew 27:4-14, states that Jesus did not respond to any of the charges leveled against the mighty. To the governor's surprise, this stillness was not a sign of weakness, but rather divine strategy, allowing the Father's plan of salvation to unfold without intervention. Might your quiet today provide a similar purpose, allowing God to work in ways beyond your understanding. That many of the spiritual struggles you confront come from misdirected words. The enemy listens intently to what you declare, looking for gaps to exploit. When you exercise strategic quiet, you can close such gaps and strengthen your defenses. Silence is not passive, but active protection that moves the emphasis from your words to your deeds, enabling the fruits of your faithfulness to speak louder than anything you might say. In Proverbs 177:27-28 reminds us that those who have knowledge apply it. Words with restraint, and whomever understands is even tempered. Fools are deemed clever if they keep silent. This knowledge emphasizes that the profound power of choosing stillness. Make this a habit in your everyday. Before answering a question or discussing anything profoundly personal, pause. Then ask yourself, does this glorify God? Does it protect my purpose? No. Choose silence. By doing so, you align with God's counsel. Create a protective barrier around the divine calling He has placed in you. Your silence becomes a prayer, and your constraint is a tribute to your faith. Your secrecy serves as a shield for your goal. The second practical technique is fortress prayer is a shield of protection and a wellspring of insight. Chosen one. Words have power, but when directed at God, they become into invincible spiritual weapons. When deciding to share anything, or even thinking about who to share it with, take a moment to lift your thoughts to God. Prayer is a simple yet meaningful act in which you seek His guidance. Prayers like the one below can become your daily Lord. Strengthen my heart and give me the discernment to comprehend what should be. Let my words exalt you alone, and may know the divine secret is unveiled before its assigned time. Amen. This prayer is more than words. It is a spiritual shield when uttered with. Intention protects your heart from doubt and your mind from misunderstanding. Through prayer, you are not merely creating a barrier against those who approach with impure motives, expressing faith while actively establishing a solid foundation for your spiritual existence. It is a reminder that God is your defender, the one who opens and closes doors, and decides when and how to reveal the facts He has given to you. The Bible frequently. Proverbs emphasizes the need of seeking God before making decisions. 35:6 instructs us to trust in the Lord with all our hearts, and rely not on submit to Him in all of your ways, and He will create your path. This principle relates strongly to the act of sharing. Praying first, you place God at the center, allowing His wisdom to lead you, words, and His protection to shield your purpose. Think how simple this is. PR practice can help you avoid typical blunders like trusting someone who is unworthy of your confidence or exposing yourself. How many times has hasty remarks or mistaken faith resulted in regret? Consider the calm that comes with knowing that every decision has been strengthened by prayer when you make God as the gatekeeper of your words. You make sure that His time and purpose prevail. Never underestimate the power of prayer before making any crucial decisions, especially those touching the holy treasures God has put within you. Allow the fortress prayer to become a daily ritual. Is a source of strength that protects and aligns your spiritual journey. Activities with God's will. You convert every moment of doubt into the third practical opportunity to build your trust in Him and His divine purpose. The tool is forming a circle of trusted persons chosen one by one. Enters your life with pure intentions, and God places the proper individuals on your path to assist you realize your mission. He also allows challenges to increase your ability to discriminate by creating a mental or spiritual list of those who actually deserve to hear your plans and share your confidences. These individuals are not just companions, they are spiritual comrades. Will pray for your success, celebrate your achievements without jealousy, and stand with you in faith to identify. These trustworthy companions pay attention to the fruits of their character, like Jesus. Luke 16:10 teaches that whomever can be trusted with little can be trusted with much. Observe how these people manage tiny problems. Do they operate with integrity and faithfulness? Trust is not simply gained. Given that it is gained through consistent behavior, people who appear. The people who are closest to you may not be the best people to keep your spiritual secrets. Keep an eye out for small indications. How do people react to your successes? Do they sincerely appreciate your growth, or do they show symptoms of envy or competition? Interested in your spiritual path, or do they seek opportunities to criticize or discourage you? A true spiritual ally would never compete with you, but rather boost you up and pray for you, your success, and urge you to remain aligned with God's plan. If you are ever unclear about someone's motives, resort to prayer and ask God to disclose what is hidden and to help you in discovering the hearts of those around you. In James chapter 1:5, we are guaranteed, if you lack wisdom, ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. This insight will help you secure the holy secrets entrusted to you. Failing. Protecting your secrets might have serious implications. Words shared recklessly may breed envy, cause misunderstandings, or even invite. Proverbs warns us about the danger of spiritual attacks. 11:13. A gossip violates a confidence, but the trustworthy choose to maintain a secret. Choosing the correct confidants is more than simply a personal preference. It is a spiritual discipline that safeguards your purpose. Take time to reflect on your relationships, which strengthens your path. Among those around you continuously uplifts and supports you, who praise for you without hope of reward. Or recognize these are the people worthy of your confidence by creating a circle. Genuine God-ordained Lee, you provide a secure area for sharing, growing, and walking secure in your calling. Protect your secrets properly, since they are the keys to advance in your God-given purpose. You must embrace 3 key principles. Understanding when to be silent, praying before taking action, and placing your trust is solely in those who have proved genuine faithfulness in defending your security. It is not just a practical measure, but also an act of defending your divine mission. You defend the important truths entrusted to you. You put a shield around the calling that God has placed on your life. Utilizing these strategies is easier than you would imagine. Begin by practicing. Strategic silence is resisting the impulse to communicate impulsive thoughts or facts about your spiritual path. When used appropriately, it transforms into a fortress of safety. Incorporate prayer into your everyday routine, particularly before making decisions or taking big moves. Make it a habit. Should routinely assess your circle of trust and ensure that only those guided by God have access to the most valuable sections of your heart. These little consistent acts create a spiritual fortress that protects your life from unneeded wars. Distractions chosen under. Recognize that protecting your secrets is more than a technique. It is a manifestation of, by guarding what God has revealed to you, you demonstrate that you respect His purpose above all else in your life. These 3 technologies strategically quiet the fortress prayer, and a well-selected, the circle of trusted people are your spiritual weapons in the unseen conflicts. When you implement these principles, you will notice a change in your. Take a time to meditate on your spiritual journey, finding yourself guarded from forces that aim to derail you. Consider that within you lies something untouchable, something beyond what the physical world can. Understanding this secret is your direct connection to God, a spiritual bridge that deepens your faith and defines your mission. It is not designed to be completely comprehended by the world, which is why it must be forcefully defended. This sacred link is similar to a divine. In the Bible, Jesus says, "For where your treasure is, your heart will be." Matthew 6:21. Your secret is not a physical possession, but a spiritual treasure. The essential essence of your calling is the cornerstone of your destiny and the unshakable strength that takes you through life's storms. Guarding this treasure requires honoring the sacred bond you share with God, enabling it to grow and bloom under His care. Imagine this. The divine spark within you glows with intensity while shielded from the curious, the detractors, and those who may want to undermine your journey by protecting. This flame allows God to work in His perfect timing, revealing His purpose. When it is ready to shine for His glory, what steps can you do today to honor and protect this gem within you? Trust that while you safeguard your secrets, God will strengthen and lead you every step of the way, ensuring that your divine purpose is intact. Unstoppable, this secret you hold cannot be bought, sold, or given away. It is precious and must be protected in your heart is the safest location, exactly like a security guard's priceless jewels. Must protect your divine link with the same diligence that God's message warns of. Matthew 6:19-20 tells us not to store up treasures on earth. Moths and rust damage, and thieves break in and steal. Yet store it for treasures in heaven refers to your spiritual connection and precious secret, which must be kept. Spiritual thieves are forces or individuals who strive to steal your tranquility, confidence, and belief in God's purpose. When you keep this secret, it becomes a fortress that protects you from the forces that want to derail your trip. The essence of this secret is your unshakable faith, which is the steadfast conviction in God's promises, even when circumstances suggest differently. It is the inner conviction that your life has a special divine purpose, even in the face of a world that may try to disbelieve. This religion is not designed for everyone to see or understand. When you keep it close and allow it to grow in silence, it strengthens, becomes a powerful shield against doubts, negativity, and spiritual attacks. Keeping this faith secret does not diminish it. Rather, it fortifies it in the stillness of your heart and grows, become a guiding light in the darkest of journeys. Have you ever encountered a moment when your faith appeared to be the only thing that kept you pushing forward, even when everything around you seemed unsure or broken? Was the strength of a safeguarded faith, a beacon of hope that cannot be destroyed. Not everyone around you is capable of knowing the depth of what God is doing in life. Others may mock your trip, divert you, or even try to destroy it. The precious work God is building within you, sharing your beliefs without discrimination. Those who cannot understand its essence expose it to needless attacks, which is why safeguarding your secret is not about hiding the truth, about keeping it from people who are not ready to receive it. Mary, the mother of Jesus, provides a strong example of this. Wisdom after the shepherds revealed their divine encounter with the angels Mary. Instead, than rushing to notify everyone, she valued all of these things, pondered them in her heart. Luke 29. Mary comprehended that some of the revelations are designed to be kept sacred, thought on, and fostered in contact with God. She did this not out of fear, but out of reverence, acknowledging the weight and holiness of what had been shown to her chosen one. You are also called to protect the sacred treasures God possesses. This act of guarding your secret is not only sensible, but extremely reverent, as it respects that some truths are too important to be revealed early, allowing God to mature His plans within you and expose them at the right time. By protecting your faith and divine connection, you exhibit your trust in His timing and commitment to His. Can you fathom the peace and power that come from keeping your religion protected and allowing it to grow? Unshaken by the world's instability, just as Mary treasured the hallowed revelations given to her, may your reverence for what God has entrusted to you direct your actions, guard your secret, develop your faith, and trust that God is perfect. His splendor will be exposed through you, and your secret is the cornerstone of your mission, is the unseen strength that equips you to fulfill your divine purpose. Many wonder how you manage to overcome difficulties, rise above challenges, and go forward with unswerving. What people fail to see is that your power comes from a hidden source, a deep relationship with God, similar to the unseen roots of a tree. Though invisible, their roots support and nourish you, helping you to stand sturdy and thrive even in the toughest storms by maintaining this essential bond. God reinforces your greatest strength, allowing you to prosper where others falter. Has braided power into quiet. The secret you keep is not simply a shield, but also divine strategy developed for your protection and growth while you maintain your faith and spiritual connection. Within the sanctuary of your heart, those who strive to understand or upset it find no point of entry. You become like a fortified city, unassailable. This impenetrable, guarded mystery is a beauty that only you and God share. Sacred link that the world cannot fathom or unravel the chosen one's keeping. This secret goes beyond personal security. It is an act of reverence and honor for God's calling. Your life, by choosing to separate your faith and spiritual connection from the scrutiny and views of others, you exhibit a tremendous confidence in God. This decision demonstrates your appreciation of the gravity of your cause and your determination to safeguard, at any cost, just as Nehemiah rebuilt Jerusalem's walls to secure what was sacred. Nehemiah 2:17-8. You are called to construct a spiritual. What really matters is that you recognize that this secret is your greatest safeguard and your key to remaining aligned with God's plan. It is not about hiding in fear, but about keeping something essential. In Proverbs 4:23, the Bible cautions that above everything else, guard your heart. Everything you do flows from your heart, and the secure place for this secret is that protects the source of your power and alignment with God's will. That you continue on the path He has laid out for you while you keep this secret. You position yourself to become unshakable, impenetrable, and fully equipped for the future God has designed. For you, prematurely shared revelations are susceptible to annihilation, but those, consider Mary, Jesus' mother, who Luke cherished, divine revelations near to her heart, cherishing them in solitude. 2:19. Her wisdom and patience enabled God's plan to develop at the appropriate moment. Unaffected by external circumstances, how would your path differ if you adopted to preserve this important secret with the same regard and discipline that you honor? God, protect the destiny He has entrusted to you. Every minute of silence, every act of discernment and prayer develops the foundation of your mission. Remember, what is revealed too quickly risks being lost, but what is maintained with wisdom survives. Forever in this way you glorify God, uphold your divine calling, and advance with confidence towards the purpose He has prepared for. As we conclude this lecture, let us ponder on the significance of keeping certain things buried in your heart. Not everything is meant to be shared, even with those closest to you. Some secrets, carrying the weight of your divine mission and disclosing it prematurely, or to the remember that God's plan for your life may be hampered by the wrong people, as the Bible warns in Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, guard your heart, since everything you do springs from it. These fundamental truths are an act of faith and trust in God that allows Him to protect and guide you on the path He has designed for all of God's chosen ones listening now. Know that keeping silence about certain matters is not weakness, but rather wisdom. It is an acknowledgement that God's hand is on you, and His methods are higher than ours in sustaining. With caution, you open the door to His blessings and assure that no weapon made against you will flourish. The world may not understand your silence, but your Father in heaven sees your obedience and will. If this message has inspired or blessed you, we humbly promise to recompense you in time. Invite you to support our work through a fantastic thanks. Your donations allow us to continue preaching God's word and touching hearts throughout the globe to those who may say thank you from the bottom of our hearts. For those who cannot, your prayers, likes, and shares a blessing to us in ways words cannot convey. Please take a moment to like, subscribe to our channel, and share this video with others who could benefit from this message of inspiration and insight. Engagement helps this community thrive and allows us to touch more people with the light of Christ. We would love to hear what aspect of today's sermon spoke to you the most? Tell us in the comments section below. As you go about your day, may God cover you with His grace and strengthen you. Journey and fill your life with His calm. You are much loved, and we thank you for being a part of this family. And stay tuned for more messages of hope, inspiration. Until the next time, may God bless you fully in all you do. Blessed and favored.